Hey everybody, this is John and you're watching the Real Man Rom-Com Review. It's mid-October and for most of you that means pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin pies, and pumpkin carving. But for me, it means one thing. 24/7 Christmas movies have begun. We got 60 new movies from Hallmark Channel's Countdown to Christmas, Hallmark of Movies and Mysteries, Miracles of Christmas, and Great American Families, Great American Christmas. Now, if you missed my Week 0 review of the first movie of the season from Great American Family, you can watch it as well as all my other content by subscribing to this channel. And don't forget to ring that bell so that you can be notified when new content drops. Week 1 brought us 4 new movies, 3 from the Hallmark Channel and 1 from Great American Family. And here's my rundown of those movies from worst to first. And number 4 was Under the Christmas Sky, airing Sunday, October 22nd on the Hallmark Channel. Now, astrophysicist Kat is involved in a car accident which causes her to have a blind spot in her eye, which is going to prevent her from achieving her dream of flying to the space station to perform research on her favorite subject, the sun. Kat takes a job as a consultant at a local planetarium where single dad David is the curator. David and Kat are tasked to create a cool and hip sun-based exhibit, and since it's opening on December 16th, it needs to have some kind of Christmas tie-in. Their brilliant solution? Do a regular exhibit and put Christmas decorations between the exhibit. Oy vey. Look, okay, I gotta stop here. At this point, we're like 20 to 30 minutes into this movie, and I literally have to check my DVR to ensure that this was a Hallmark movie. I mean, the story and pacing of this felt like just like one of those horrible Great American Family movies from last year. What disappointed me the most is that this was the 2023 Ryan Peavy movie, and I loved him in Timeless Christmas and Christmas at the Plaza. Now, after last year's disappointing Coyote Creek Christmas, I expected him to get a better movie, and this was not it. Now, as far as my kiss-o-meter rating for this movie, I got to go with a solid 1. It wasn't the final kiss, but shortly before the final scene, Kat and David had this incredibly forced and awkward-looking kiss that was the worst I've ever seen in a Hallmark movie. It literally looked like she was being forced to neck with her brother and not the man she supposedly has fallen in love with. For all the bad that was this movie, I am going to give a shout out to Andrew Bushnell, who played Kat's brother Andy. He stole every scene. Matter of fact, I was more into the budding relationship with him and gift shop worker Celeste than I was in the rest of this movie. Number 3 was Checkin' It Twice, which aired Friday, October 20th on the Hallmark Channel. Now, the 2023 Christmas movie opening salvo from the Hallmark Channel was Checkin' In Twice, starring Kevin McGarity from The Wedding Veil and When Comes the Heart, and Kim Matula of last year's excellent movie, Ghost of Christmas Always. Ashley, who's a big-time realtor in New York City, has just lost a big deal because it was stolen out from under her by her boyfriend, Trevor. And good old Trevor is no longer her boyfriend after that. So Ashley's headed home to Idaho Falls for Christmas. And Scott Briggs is a journeyman hockey player who just got traded to the Idaho Falls Fighting Trout hockey team. Now, Scott's father was a hockey legend in the NHL, and Scott's just trying to get promoted to the Boise team. This movie seems to have a familiar theme to it. Let me see. Can you say Hallmark meets Bull Durham, boys and girls? I knew you could. Look, in Bull Durham, you have the scene where Crash Davis is at the plate talking to himself and thinking about Annie, which causes him to strike out. Well, in this movie, Scott's in the middle of a game when he sees Ashley in the stands, and they start yelling at each other because there was a switch of each other's credit cards, and this causes Scott to get laid out by a blindside check. Now, just as Crash Davis's AAA contract was bought out so that he could babysit some hotshot kid in the Carolina bus leagues, Scott Briggs is traded from the ECHL, a 2A hockey league, to the Idaho Falls Fighting Trout, which must be like the lowest level of professional hockey. Now, at the suggestion of his manager, Crash Davis finishes out the season, hits his dinger, and hangs up his cleats and becomes a minor league coach. Well, Scott Briggs' coach sees Scott imparting his wisdom and knowledge to the younger teammates and suggests that Scott has a future in coaching. There. So, look, there were several funny scenes in this movie. I mean, Ashley had invited Scott to dinner, and before they walk in, Ashley warned Scott to avoid Grandma's eggnog. And Scott likes eggnog, and not wanting to be rude, he agrees to give Grandma's recipe a try. And watching Kevin McGarity almost throw up back into the cup upon tasting the eggnog was a riot. Now, we also got introduced to 2 new Christmas games. Call it Speed Fishing for Trout Ornaments, which consists of 3-man teams competing to each snag a trout fish ornament on a hook. And then we got Bobbing for Gingerbread Men, where you must attempt to eat a gingerbread man cookie dangling from a string while your hands are tied behind your back. I may be adding that to this year's family get-together. Ultimately, Ashley gets a call about a big commercial deal back in New York and should have to be back by the 23rd to be at that deal. And Scott ultimately does get the promotion to Boise. And it just seems that these 2 crazy kids are just not meant to get together. Hey, but this is a Hallmark Christmas movie, and Christmas magic makes Ashley realize that Scott is her man. So she runs to the airport to book a flight to Boise. And while at the airport counter trying to book that flight, Scott appears, having left his dream of making it to the bigs to be with her. Kissy kissy, he shoots, he scores. This movie followed the classic Hallmark format, making it a suitable opening salvo for the 2023 movie season. Now, while I might not go out of my way to make sure that I saw this movie, it is definitely worth the watch. Oh, and the Kiss-O-Meter for this movie? Solid 7. Hey, if you've been enjoying these reviews, be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell so that you can get notified when new content drops. Number 2 was Where Are You Christmas, which aired Saturday, October 21st on the Hallmark Channel. Now, branding executive Addie is promoting her company's latest creation called Quick Ship. And the app has a virtual Santa that gives you a daily reminder of how many days until Christmas. It says something to the effect that the wishes you make this Christmas will last a lifetime. And now Addie is reluctantly heading home to Red Lake Falls for Christmas because her brother is planning to get engaged. And Addie plans to arrive a couple of days before Christmas and be on a plane heading to the Maldives by the 26th. I mean, Addie must be bringing home some serious coin, because I looked into vacationing in the Maldives, and it is high dollar. So as Andy arrives in town, her car starts acting up, and she's been too busy to get it serviced, so she takes it over to the local mechanic where she meets Hunter Blackman, who took over his grandfather's shop after he passed away. And when Addie and Hunter see each other, you can feel Cupid's arrows zoom right through Hunter's heart. The next day, the Quick Ship Santa reminds Addie that it's just a couple of days until Christmas and wants to know if she has made her Christmas wish. And Addie replies that she wishes that Christmas didn't exist. Next thing you know, Addie's driving her car when she hits a patch of ice and wrecks. Hunter arrives to help her out of the car, and Addie realizes that the world is now black and white and nobody remembers Christmas, causing Addie to ask, "Where are you Christmas?" Yep, folks. This is Hallmark Does Pleasantville. And as with Pleasantville, the rest of the movie is spent trying to convince everyone in town to find their love of Christmas again, which causes them to change back into color. Everyone except for Addie, who remembers Christmas, but doesn't remember what Christmas is all about on the inside. Fortunately, in the nick of time, Addie lets the magic of Christmas once again into her heart. And like the Grinch, her heart grew 3 sizes that day, and she changed from black and white to full Technicolor. Now, this movie was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Michael Rady gives another stellar performance in a Hallmark Christmas movie. I mean, there's a hilarious moment when he meets Addie at the garage the day after he changes color, and he's dressed head to toe in black and white clothing so that he can blend with the other people in town. Now, despite all the fun, this movie wasn't without its faults. I didn't like how Addie's father was portrayed in color at the beginning of the movie. He was gruff, and he just didn't seem like he wanted Addie around. And prior to becoming black and white, his parents were full of Christmas spirit. So he should have been more jovial at that point in the movie to fit the flow of the movie. Well, after Hunter changes to black and white, he and Addie head out to the woods where they find a tree that Hunter wants to cut down. Now, my wife and I both looked at each other and immediately said, Dad, did you bring a saw? Everyone in town attends a Christmas pageant that never happened. Instead, Addie's brother proposes to Sienna, and Hunter tells the tale of Addie's father leading the annual Operation Christmas Child. Look, if I was the mom who had to make an ostrich costume for my kid because there were ostriches at the manger, of course, I'd be a little peeved. I'm giving this movie a kiss-o-meter score of 9 because any kiss that can turn you from black and white to color has to be hot, and both of their kisses were pretty strong. Now, while this certainly was no Three Wise Men and a Baby or Haul Out the Holly, it was certainly fun and refreshing. So thank you, Hallmark, for continuing to push the bar and make movies that are witty, fun, and do not necessarily always have to follow the classic Hallmark formula. Number 1 was 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, which aired Saturday, October 21st on Great American Family. Congratulations, Great American Family! You did it! You won the week with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Now, the movie opens to tell us that it's the first Christmas, and we meet Addie, who's a chiropractor, and Addie gets a text from an unknown person telling her that she looks forward to seeing her for Christmas. And Addie, who's recently broken up with her boyfriend Mark, is struggling with the whole breakup. Now, that evening, she goes and has dinner with her dad, who's about to head over to Australia to spend Christmas with her biologist brother, Andrew. And after dinner, Addie gets another text from the stranger, and they exchange names and photos and become text buddies. And the next day at the office, Addie is caught creeping on Andrew's social when she discovers that Andrew's new girlfriend of only 2 months is now sporting the 6-carat Harry Winston on her bony, unpolished finger. Anyway, a ticked off Addie decides to accept an offer from Nana to come visit her for Christmas. And Nana's son, James, who's a traveling doctor, is also home for Christmas, and she thinks the two of them need to meet. I mean, that old Nana is one sly old bird. Addie arrives into town, and after checking into the local inn, she arrives at Nana's house, where she meets James and the rest of the family. Now, in the middle of dinner, the doorbell rings. Well, it seems that James has run into his old flame Violet in town and invited her to dinner, much to the rest of the family's disappointment. Now, after dinner, they exchange gifts, and Addie gives Nana this really nice crystal vase, which impresses James, while Violet spends her time with her head down scrolling through TikTok reels. Now, as everyone's leaving, Nana notices that James and Addie are under the mistletoe, and she ain't letting that moment get away. And James gives Addie a kiss on the cheek. But when Violet comes to stand at the same spot, it does not go unnoticed by James that Nana makes no mention of the mistletoe. So we'll skip ahead to Christmas, the second Christmas. And Addie and Nana are now become FaceTime friends. And James in town, and he tells Nana that he knows what she's trying to do, setting the two of them up. But Addie is with Luke, the French chef. And now Addie has dinner with her dad again. And this time, instead of staying home, Dad wants to go to Australia to help out Andrew, who recently broke off with his longtime girlfriend, and he could use Dad's company. So Addie decides to head back to Vermont to see Nana for Christmas. And James is home early from his trip abroad, and he is no longer with Violet. Woohoo! James gets Addie this really nice angel wing necklace with an emerald in the center, and everyone is very impressed. Fast forward to the third Christmas. Annie and Luke are no longer dating. C'est la vie. At dinner with Dad, Dad tells Addie that he's going to Australia and he ain't coming home. But, hey, if she wants to come to Australia, there's a job there waiting for her. So this year, Addie's going to Vermont to go spend a few days with Nana and her family. On Christmas Eve, James decides to defrost a turkey for Christmas Eve. No, wait a minute, hold on. No. You're going to tell me that this guy is going to defrost a bird that's supposed to feed 7 people in one day? Ain't happening. Now, James gives Addie an early Christmas present, which is a photo of Addie with James's family. Now it's Christmas Day, and there is something burning in the kitchen, and yep, it is that turkey that he defrosted in a day. So James does what every guy does, and he rummages through the single man's fridge, and what's he got? Hot dogs and fish sticks. So Addie makes the suggestion that they go to the grocery store. Now, hold on. It's Christmas Day. Ain't nothing open on Christmas Day. But by some miracle, they find some place to buy groceries and prime rib, and they end up having this great Christmas meal. James tells everyone there he's gotten his dream job to go to Jamaica, and Addie has gotten a call that she's been offered that job in Australia. It just seems that their timing is not going to be right. So come the morning of December 26th, Nana tells Addie it's never too late for love. And Addie runs over to James's house just as James is leaving to go and find Addie. They profess their love for each other. Kissy kissy, Facebook official. Great American finally hit a grand slam with this movie. I mean, this movie was everything I had been hoping for from them. It has a great cast, it has a great story, and there's tons of funny moments in this movie. I mean, the whole dinner scene with Violet was a riot. And Lisa and I watched that mistletoe scene at least a couple of times to catch all the humorous moments in it. James and Natty also had this funny exchange of their exes where James called Luke Duke and Natty referred to Violet as Victoria. Now, as for the Kiss-O-Meter, well, I'm going to give this one a solid 6. I mean, it had a little sizzle, but it didn't make me go, ooh la la. Now, look, I was really critical of Great American Family after the last lackluster opening weekend movie, and I thought we were going to get another long slog through the 2023 season. So I guess the folks at Great American Family must have figured out that they needed to up their game after Hallmark threw the formula out the window last year. Way to go, Great American Family. My faith has been restored. Do not let me down. So what do you think of my reviews for week 1? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my content and ring that bell to be notified of new content. Hey, this is John, and thanks for watching the Real Man Rom-Com Review.